Fremont Group's October 2019 webinar. The topic is risk. My name is Dirk. I'm the Executive Director of the Fremont Group. Fremont Group is a nonprofit organization supporting small business owners since 2001. PFG offers consulting, coaching, mentoring, accounting, and benefits to small businesses nationwide. Headquartered in Aurora, Colorado, we consist of a nationwide network of success partners who have been there and done that. We host webinars, local workshops, a website, and other resources for small business owners. This webinar addresses the topic of risk. In discussions with clients and success partners, we attempt to determine the main risk to small businesses. Many possible topics were suggested: lawsuits, large competitors, lack of insurance, and other topics. However, we finally agreed on one critical factor that poses the greatest risk to a small business owner. We determined that the greatest risk to a small business owner is the lack of capitalization. We also determined that it's almost a universal problem for new businesses. The entrepreneur has an idea and believes so strongly in that idea that they underestimate the amount of capital that will actually be required in order to become successful. That said, it's not the startup stage that we're going to discuss. Rather, it will be the failure of the entrepreneur to address this issue even after they have become established. Small business owners who survive their startup are good at what they do. They had to be good at what they did or are doing, because otherwise they would not have survived the very difficult startup stage. The question becomes, what is it they're trying to do? Do you own a job or do you own a business? Are you merely creating a job for yourself? If so, we unfortunately have to tell them oftentimes that they could make more money and have fewer headaches simply working for someone else. Unfortunately, once you are a small business owner, you become virtually unemployable. You will no longer simply take directions from a boss and do your job. You've outgrown that, and so you are stuck. And so you might as well make your business work. Owning a business rather than a job starts with trying to own a business. Ultimately, a business owner can choose either to work in the business or not to work in the business. Their compensation as an owner is from the profit that the business generates, not from the value of the daily work that they provide. They are a leader and not necessarily a worker. And in order to protect that profit, they have to understand that they must be properly capitalized. So, how does a business become properly capitalized, and what does it mean? There's 3 steps to proper capitalization. The first step is to identify the capitalization needs of the company. Secondly, is to create a strategic plan to accomplish proper capitalization. And thirdly, is to implement the plan and make course corrections as promptly as needed. As I stated in my book, Minding My Own Business, proper capitalization is having liquid assets required to meet all current and short-term obligations without new revenue. It's analogous to a family advisor who tells you should have X number of months of cash on hand to meet your basic obligations. Banks recognize a business's capitalization obligation through the current ratio. In a properly established chart of accounts, your current ratio is the total of your current assets divided by the total of your current liabilities. Current assets are the amount of money that you will produce in the short term. It's your cash on hand and your accounts receivable and possibly your inventory. Your current liabilities are the bills that you're going to have to pay in the short term. Obviously, you need to have more current assets than you have current liabilities. The current ratio is computed by dividing your current assets by your current liabilities, and obviously, again, the ratio should be greater than the number 1. In many cases, at least two. In other words, you should have at least twice as much current assets as you have current liabilities. On the other hand, we do see some businesses whose current ratios are simply too high, see 15, 18, things like that. That simply means you're not making proper use of the assets that you have on hand. Current ratios are a very important factor and should be monitored constantly by all businesses. Just as a family will never save money without a plan, neither will a business. As the leader of your business, it is your responsibility to determine both the operational and financial plan for your business. What techniques will you use in order to increase your current ratio, and at what level do we want it at? Do we want to build the current ratio because you're planning an expansion of some kind? Are we willing to stay tight because we're in the midst of another operational issue? Those are the things that need to go into your strategic plan. The cornerstones for implementation of your financial plan are two things: your budget and your cash flow projections. Every company must have a budget and a cash flow projection. If you don't have those things, you are committing financial malpractice for your business. It is critical first that you understand just what a budget is. Think about this definition. A budget is a financial plan designed to produce a predetermined desirable result. In other words, what result do you want and how do you plan to get it? Put in those terms, it's easy to understand why you should have it. A budget is not, oh, I can't go out to lunch this week because my wife says I'm on a budget. No, rather, it is a financial plan that is designed to produce the predetermined desirable result that you have established. Lacking a budget, you don't know what you can afford. You end up running the business by gut feel rather than by numbers. That is risk. It's especially high risk during transition. You may have run your business for many, many years and understand almost without a budget when things are out of whack and where things are possibly without even looking at numbers. However, it is not transferable to anyone else should something happen to you, or if you're trying to do one of two things: step away from the business or sell the business or transfer it to someone, a family member or someone else. Wherein your budget tells you what you can afford, your cash flow forecast tells you when you can afford it. Just because you can afford something doesn't mean you can buy it all at once. The cash flow forecast tells you when. These are then tied to your projected operational needs. Where are we taking the business? What are our sales projections? What staffing needs will be needed? And what facility needs will have to be in place in order to process the amount of work that you're projecting. If you lack a plan to become properly capitalized, you probably never will be. Running a small business is much riskier than running a large business. One client that goes under, one job that turns out bad, and so on in a small business can sink you. Running a larger business is not as risky because you're spreading the risk of those events over a larger number of jobs. So let's do a self-evaluation. First, do you know your capitalization needs? What are they? It obviously has to be tied to your current ratio. It has to be tied to your cash on hand. It has to be tied to your operational plan and projected future sales. Secondly, do you have a strategic plan designed to obtain them? Thirdly, do you have a properly designed budget that is reviewed and revised at least monthly? Fourthly, do you have a cash flow forecast for at least the next 6 weeks? And lastly, do you tie these to your projected future operations? This is where you determine whether it is your goal to own a business or merely maintain a job. And unfortunately, in that job, you're probably not getting paid hourly anywhere near what you could have had you worked for someone else. And furthermore, you're probably working for a jerk of a boss, someone that doesn't know where the business is going and isn't taking care of it yourself. So, what do responsible business owners do? First of all, you need to spend your time creating a business that works. You work on the business, not in the business. You focus on all those different things that people say they are all true. It is your responsibility as leadership to establish a business that works and becomes properly capitalized. Secondly, what are things you can do that we can provide? You can attend a Minding My Own Business workshop. We tie together there many of these basic fundamentals. There is no new and improved out there. There are simply basic business fundamentals that, if done a little better than your competitor, makes you better than them and makes you succeed. Other options, complete a business assessment with an initial consultation with one of our success partners, where we will identify issues and create an action plan for implementation. And lastly, work with us. Work with a success partner who can help you take your business to the next level. No one is so good that they don't have some gaps in their knowledge and ability to implement things that couldn't be assisted with some professional help. Some resources that we can offer for you: visit our website at tfginfo.org. There you can find hundreds of articles on our blog post, all of which are informative and will help you understand and run your business better. Become a patron at our Patreon site. There you will receive bi-monthly blog posts just for you. You can also work your way up to a presidential membership, where you can attend our workshops, get discounts on a number of different things, and also view the webinars prior to anyone else and review those with us. Give us a call anytime, 303-338-9300. Our job is here to help you. Our motto is, you only have what you give. It's by giving of yourself that you grow rich. And lastly, if you don't want to call, send us an email. We'd be glad to field whatever questions and answer whatever things we can do for you. We hope to see you at one of our events. Again, with any calls, any issues, anything at all, give us a call. I'd be glad to talk to you.